What if just one message could change everything? One final text that doesn't shake your world with noise, but with silence. A message that doesn't come with anger or chaos, but with peace and goodbye. Now imagine the person reading that message is Johnny Depp. It's late. Not a loud Hollywood night. Not a movie set. Just him, sitting alone, in a quiet space where the world finally stops talking. The room feels still. The air feels calm. There's soft light, maybe just a lamp, maybe just the glow of his phone screen. Then, a vibration. A small sound. A notification. He looks at it without rushing. He isn't expecting drama. He isn't expecting anything heavy. It's just another night. Just another moment. Until it isn't. He sees the name. A familiar name. A name that doesn't remind him of fame, noise, fans, headlines, lights, or red carpets. A name that reminds him of something much simpler, peace. A quiet time. A safe time. A human connection that didn't need cameras to exist. He opens the message. There aren't many words. No dramatic speech. No demands. No questions. No long paragraphs trying to explain life. Just a soft goodbye. A thank you. A warm final note. Something honest, gentle, and real. It's not the kind of text that breaks you. It's the kind that sits with you, quietly, like a memory placing its hand on your heart instead of trying to squeeze it. Most people imagine heartbreak as loud. Crying. Begging. Fighting. Slamming doors. Heavy emotions crashing like waves. But sometimes heartbreak isn't loud at all. Sometimes it's calm. Sometimes it's peaceful. Sometimes it's just acceptance wrapped in gratitude. He reads it slowly. Not once. Maybe twice. Not because he didn't understand the words, but because he wants to feel them fully. He doesn't panic. He doesn't get angry. He doesn't feel lost. He doesn't try to reply with a long message. He just sits with it. And then he smiles. A small smile. A real one. The kind of smile that says, "Thank you for what we shared. Thank you for being gentle. Thank you for not turning our story into a storm." He doesn't text back right away. Not because he doesn't care, but because he cares enough to give the moment space. Sometimes silence says more than words ever can. He places the phone down. His hand reaches for his guitar. Because sometimes, emotions speak better through strings than through sentences. Music is his language when words feel too heavy or too small. He doesn't play a sad tune. He doesn't play broken notes or tear-filled chords. He plays something soft. Something warm. Something that sounds like acceptance. Like breathing out after holding in a long sigh. Like peace. Each note floats in the room. Light. Calm. Honest. He isn't thinking, "Why did this happen?" He's thinking, "Thank you for what you were. Thank you for the time. Thank you for the lesson." Some people step into our lives not to stay forever, but to teach us things we don't learn in noise. They teach us that love can be gentle. That connection doesn't need to own you to be real. That not all endings hurt. Some endings simply free your heart to grow. People think real love means holding on. But sometimes real love means letting go without bitterness. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is not, "Please stay," but, "I'm grateful you were here." That night wasn't about losing someone. It was about understanding someone. It was about a chapter closing softly instead of slamming shut. You know this feeling, don't you? That moment when you get a message that makes you stop for a second. Not because it broke you, but because it reminded you how deeply you once felt something, and how deeply you still respect it. Life isn't always about who stays. It's also about who came at the right time. Who gave you peace when you needed it. Who showed you a version of yourself you were still learning to become. Not every person who leaves harms you. Some leave quietly and gift you clarity. Some leave with kindness and leave you light instead of heavy. He keeps playing. Eyes soft. Breathing steady. He feels thankful. For memories. For moments. For laughter once shared. For conversations that once felt endless. For company during lonely times. For healing that came without noise. And maybe he feels thankful for the goodbye too, because some goodbyes help you find yourself again. We don't talk about this enough. The beauty in endings that don't destroy, but release. The goodbyes that don't drag you into sadness, but guide you into peace. When the song ends, he sits back. Not defeated. Not heartbroken. Just calm. He knows life moves forward. He knows love doesn't always walk beside you forever. But he also knows that not all love is meant to vanish. Some love stays inside you, not as longing, but as warmth. He picks up his phone again, not to text back right away, but to look at the name one last time before placing it down with care. Because some people, even when they're gone, don't leave emptiness. They leave quiet light inside you. He didn't lose anything that night. He didn't fall apart. He didn't question his worth. He didn't try to hold on to something that was already complete. He simply accepted the moment. There is strength in that. Real strength. Strength that comes from knowing your value. Strength that comes from loving without needing to possess. Strength that comes from understanding that peace is more important than control. Ask yourself, have you ever had a goodbye that didn't break you, but shaped you? A final message that felt like closure instead of a wound? A moment where you realized that your heart wasn't shattered, it was growing? We're taught that love must be all or nothing. Stay or forever regret. Hold on or lose. Fight or fail. But real life isn't like movies. Sometimes love is quiet. Sometimes love is mature. Sometimes love is knowing when to say, thank you, instead of, don't go. Johnny didn't respond out of panic. He responded in his own time, in his own energy, in his own peace. He chose music. He chose stillness. He chose dignity. He chose love, not attachment. And that's a lesson for all of us. Some texts don't ask for an answer. Some messages don't need fixing. Some moments don't need drama. Sometimes the best response is simply breathing, and trusting life's timing. He didn't lose love that night. He transformed it. He turned it into gratitude. Into a quiet smile. Into soft music floating through the room like a whisper to the universe. Thank you. Not for staying. But for coming. Not for forever. But for the chapter. Not for the ending. But for the journey. Love doesn't always leave scars. Sometimes it leaves peace. Sometimes the final text isn't the end. It's the beginning of knowing your heart in a deeper way. And in that quiet moment, with his guitar still humming gently and his soul calm, he understood something powerful. You don't measure love by who stays. You measure it by how it changes you. By who you became because of it. By how you hold your heart afterward, softer, wiser, calmer. Goodbyes aren't failures. They are transitions. They are emotional graduation. They are proof that your heart lived, felt, cared, and grew. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is smile at the memory instead of crying over the loss. So tell me, have you ever had a moment like that? A message that felt like closure, not pain? A goodbye that made you grateful instead of broken? Share it if you want. Someone needs to feel understood today. Because just like Johnny in that quiet room, you deserve peace. You deserve gentle endings. You deserve memories that make you smile, even if they came wrapped in goodbye. And who knows? Maybe your next chapter will be even more beautiful. Maybe peace isn't the end, maybe it's the beginning. I believe it is. And deep down, I think, you do too.